morning, everyone. In today's class, we'll just discuss about the dielectrics. What is actually the meaning of dielectrics? This is we are dealing with the chapter 2, unit 2, chapter 2. Dielectrics are nothing but they are the materials which can exhibit a dual property, right? The dielectrics have been classified into two categories. The dielectric will have two categories, that is passive and the what you can say active dielectric. So here, so in the last class was discussed about the dielectric materials. So in this today's class, in today's class we are actually discussing about dielectric material. In the last class we just had the videos regarding how the actual your cell phones work. So cell phone, what is the actual basic principle on which the cell phone is working, and also we had the video on the Hall effect. So what is actually the meaning of Hall effect, and what is actually the Hall effect as used in our daily life. In this today's class, what we'll do is that we'll start with the dielectrics. So the dielectrics are nothing but the materials in which the electrons are very tightly bounded. So we just say that dielectrics are the materials which are having electric dipole moment, permanent electric dipole moment. So what is actually the meaning of a dipole? So what is dipole? Dipole is a parameter in which you will have the two oppositely charges which are separated by equal distance, or we can say that which are separated by a very small distance. So if two charges, opposite charges particularly, they are separated by a small distance, we say that that is a dipole. So here since we are talking about the dielectrics, so we say that the given dipole is a electric dipole. So what is actually, see, what is the need of studying this dielectrics are that, so dielectrics are the materials which I just now I told you that there will be two types of dielectric materials. So one is passive dielectrics and the active dielectrics. So the passive dielectrics are the dielectrics which are used for the insulation purpose, and the active dielectrics are nothing but they are used for the what you can say storing the charges. So these are the two important categories of the dielectrics. So in order to understand this dielectrics in a detailed manner, we'll just discuss about the some important definitions which are related to the dielectrics. So we just started with the dipole. Di means two, so you do two poles. So these two poles are what these two poles signifies, that they are equal and opposite charges which are separated by a very small distance. So next comes the definition of what is actually the meaning of dipole moment. So here, so what is actually dipole moment? The product of the mathematically, we say that the product of the magnitude of the two charges. So either the we talk about positive or the negative charges. So the magnitude of the two charges, product of magnitude of any uh, charge, and which are separated by some distance. We just now we said that if this is the case, then that is called dipole moment. So the dipole moment is given by the symbol parameter symbol, that is mu suffix e is equal to q into x. Now q definitely, since we talk about a magnitude, it will be positive. So mu suffix e is equal to q into x, and the unit of dipole moment has been shown to you, that is coulomb meter. So this is the charge, since the unit of charge is coulomb, so therefore a coulomb meter, x is the distance. So you can just see there are two charges, right? Positive charge and the negative charge, which are separated by some small distance, right? And these two oppositely charges are separated by a very small distance. If we just combine this one of the charge, right, either it may be positive or the negative charge, the product of this charge and the distance between them, then we'll just say that particular thing is mathematically equal to mu suffix e, and the theoretically we say that that is a dipole moment, right? Understood everyone? So we already know that the dielectrics are insulators and also they are used to store electric charges. Just now we just discussed about the passive and the active dielectrics. So if it is passive, then definitely will be used for the insulation purposes, and if it is the active, so they are mainly used to store the electrical energy. So example, so this is about the dielectrics definition, the important parameters of the dipole moment. The next important aspect is what are the examples, right? What is the example of dielectrics? Just now we talked many things about the dielectric. So what are the different examples that we see in our daily life? So the examples of dielectrics, it may be glass or plastic, or so this is about solid, right? Mica, glass, plastics are solid dielectrics. So when you consider liquid dielectrics, that are water, and we say that and the other polar molecules, right? So you don't you'll have this example of the dielectric material, or you say, when I say dielectric material, I'm talking about active dielectric, where you can store the charges, which is used for storing the charges. So you can just see that there are, when we say capacitor is a device or a material which can store the charges. So these is schematically, see, this is let us consider this, we talked about a dielectric and an atom, and here you have a positive and the negative charges at a different two metal plates. You can see these are two metal plates, one is positive charge and the negative charge. So they are separated by some small distance. So this is the electric, we say that this positive and negative charge potential has been developed. So we just say that it is called electric field, right? So now, so what is this positive indicates? You already know, if you consider an atom, dielectric atom, definitely at the center you'll have a nucleus, which is definitely will be a positive charge, and surrounding to the nucleus you'll have a negative electron cloud. So therefore, this is schematical view of the dielectric, right, atom. So now what is actually the meaning of dielectric constant? You had to hear that these dielectric constant, what is actually this dielectric constant? So dielectric constant is the ratio between the permittivity of the medium to the permittivity of the free space. So this is actually the dielectric constant is also known as the relative permittivity. So what is actually the meaning of this permittivity of the medium? So the permittivity itself, if you just consider an English word for that, so permit, right? We just spell it, we will just what you can say, divide this particular aspect, permit. So the amount of charge which can be allowed by a medium, so we say that that is called permittivity. So now, why we are actually studying about dielectric constant? What is the need of studying this dielectric constant? So the characteristic of dielectric materials, actually the character of a dielectric material mathematically can be represented or is given by dielectric constant. And definitely when you have a ratio part, you don't have any units for it. So the permittivity, relative permittivity, we said dielectric constant is also known as relative permittivity. So relative permittivity sigma r is equal to sigma by sigma naught. So this is called the relative permittivity or dielectric constant, and the characteristic of the dielectric material is given by the dielectric constant. So now we'll just move to the polarization aspect. So since we are studying about dielectric, right? So we need to study a very important aspect, the polarization. So I think that in intermediate we just studied about the polarization, and we studied the polarization with respect to the light. So what is actually meaning? Just we just will recall the meaning of polarization with respect to intermediate, what you have studied. So polarization is nothing but what you can say, dividing the positive and the negative charges here in the engineering purpose. When you go for electric polarization, so we are that what we are doing it is that, where we just now we just had this right figure. So in this figure you can just see this, say we say that the positive charges are have been at the interface of one of the metal plate, and the negative charge has been separated, right? So you can just see that this is isolation, right? Isolation of charges, or we say that in what you can say, in engineering, we just deal with this is called polarization of charges, separation of charges at the interface of the material. We say that that is called a polarization in engineering, right? And we talk about, when you talk about electric polarization, now this is actually what is the meaning of polarization in electricity, right? That is called electric polarization. In light polarization, the what you studied in the intermediate, the light polarization. In light, you studied polarization. Polarization is nothing but we say that light is actually consisting of two components, that arrow and the dot headed components. So if one of the component will be what you can say, if you just filtered, so whatever the light, whatever the component which is remaining, we say that that is called polarized light. And we had very different applications of that polarized light. So here, since we are dealing with the electric polarization, so what the polarization says that the process of producing the electric dipoles, so we say that by an electric field, so we say that is called polarization in dielectrics. So here in light, in the previous classes we just studied about polarization in light. In the dielectric way, the process of producing the dipoles, electric dipoles. Electric means you have a positive and the negative poles. You can just see that the two metal plates. So we say that is called the process of producing the electric dipoles and by an electric field. So we say that this is called polarization in dielectrics. What is actually the polarizability? So the dipole moment which has been induced per unit electric field is called polarizability, which has been shown by the formulae. You can see the mathematically mu is the induced dipole moment is proportional to the intensity of the electric field. If I remove this proportionality constant, some is equal to will come and some constant will come, so that mu is equal to alpha e. So that alpha is nothing but we say that that is called polarizability constant. Simply we say that the polarizability. So how much the amount of polarization of charges has been taken place for that particular instant, which you need to study about the polarizability. So this is about the electric polarization and the polarizability in dielectrics, right? So now what is actually polarization vector? What is actually polarization vector? So since see just in the starting itself, which I told you that when you study about when we are studying about the dielectric material, you need to understand some important parameters. So in order to study its character, so when you want to study about dielectric, so the starting point that you need to understand what is actually the meaning of dielectric constant, and then we studied about polarization, electric polarization, polarization, what you can say, the polarization or polarizability, and then we are studying about polarization vector. These are the important what you can say definitions and the parameters which will give us the information regarding the character of the dielectric material. So the dipole moment per unit volume of the dielectric material, we say that is called polarization. Dipole moment, just now see, dipole moment we studied in the see in the previous slide. When I show you the previous slide, so you can just say this is called dipole moment, that is given by mu e into q into x. So here the same thing we are studying. See, I can just see here also we are studying see qi into xi sigma, the sum of see sigma here, the sum of, right, I can have value from 1 to n, right, per unit volume. So dielectric will have some volume. So the dipole moment per unit volume of the given material, we say that is called the polarization vector. So what is the next aspect that we are going to study? Electric flux density. This particular aspect you studied in the lower classes also. So what is the electric flux density? The electric flux density is nothing but the defined as the charge per unit area, which has the same unit as the dielectric polarization. So why actually we are studying about electric flux density? So why we need to study about this? Why? Because whenever in an electric lines of force, which are in we say that it's an imaginary thing, when they entered a given material, right? So how much the electric capability of that material, right? So we can say that the electric lines of force when it enter a particular material, so it will take the character of that particular material. So what is so in order to understand that electricity when it when it's transmitting inside the material, first of all we need to understand what is actually electric flux density. So the electric flux density at any point in a free space, if we say free space or an air, in terms of electric field strength, that is given by mathematically d naught is equal to epsilon naught into E. At the same point, in a given medium, see, the naught signifies that it is a free space. So free space means air. Here we are considering it as air. So d naught is equal to sigma naught into E. So at the same point, if it may be any medium, so other than the air, so we say that d is equal to epsilon naught, epsilon into E. So as the polarization measures the extra additional flux density arising due to the presence of the material. So when I say the electric field, when it is electricity, when it is or an electric field or electricity is entering into a given material, it will acquire the character of that particular material. So that is the reason that we just write that if it is the case of the air and the when it is entering a different media, then we say that d is equal to epsilon naught E, right? So epsilon naught E plus some charges will be polarized, right? So d is equal to epsilon naught E plus P. There's a P is the polarization of the given charges present in the material. So now we already know that d is what epsilon naught E. You can just see the previous slide. D is any, we talk about any medium, epsilon naught E. So instead of D, what I can write in the equation 2? Epsilon naught E, which is equal to epsilon naught E plus P. I think that you got a very clear idea. So see here. So epsilon E is equal to epsilon naught E plus P. So E is common when it go to the, what you can say, left hand side. So epsilon minus epsilon naught into E is equal to P. Or we say that what is epsilon? Epsilon r into epsilon naught. So from where I got this value, you can just see this epsilon, see epsilon is equal to epsilon naught into epsilon r. From here itself you can write epsilon is equal to epsilon naught into epsilon r. So that particular term again we had written. So that is the reason that epsilon is nothing but epsilon r into epsilon naught minus epsilon naught into E is equal to P. Now you can just take common. What is common? You can take epsilon suffix O, that is epsilon naught. So epsilon r minus 1 into epsilon naught into E is equal to P. So by using this equation, so epsilon r, you can see this what we have done here. Next aspect, that so what is actually the susceptibility? See, again an important parameter come into existence. What is this actually susceptibility? So the polarization vector is proportional to the total electric flux density and the direction of the electric field. Therefore the polarization vector can be written as what is that polarization vector? P bar is equal to epsilon naught eta suffix e into E, and which is divided by P, sorry, that is called E. And here what is actually eta suffix E is equal to P by epsilon naught into E. So P bar we already know. See from where I got P. See, you can see. So what is the value you got for P? P is equal to epsilon r minus 1 into epsilon naught E. So from here I can just write it down. What you can say, sorry, epsilon naught B by epsilon naught E. So P bar is epsilon naught epsilon naught. So epsilon naught into E and epsilon naught into E can be cancelled out, and what is remaining? The susceptibility is equal to epsilon r minus 1. So susceptibility value is actually related to the epsilon r minus 1. So what is actually susceptibility? So the susceptibility is nothing but the medium which the capability of the medium to resist the flow of the electric charges. If it is if we talk about electricity, so therefore we take we tell about the electric susceptibility. Now if you consider it as a magnetism or magnetic field, so then we say that that is called magnetic susceptibility. Since you are talking about electric susceptibility, so electric susceptibility is given by eta suffix e is equal to epsilon r minus 1. So this is a relation between the susceptibility and the dielectric constant. So here how this polarization of charges is taking place in a given specimen. So now first of all we just talk about a DC direct we talk about DC, direct current, electric field. Polarization is actually uh, is due to the different processes which are taking place. That is electronic polarization, ionic polarization, and orientation polarization, and also at last we had a space charge polarization. These are the processes by which how the polarization of charges are taking place. There is a process by which the polarization of charges which is taking place. The specimen is placed, the given dielectric material or a specimen is placed in a DC electric field. So polarizations are, if it is a, if we place that specimen in a DC electric field, then definitely polarization is taking place, and that polarizations are actually are of four types, and that is the electronic polarization, ionic polarization, orientation polarization, and the space charge polarization. So here we just discuss what is actually the meaning of electronic polarization. So what is this actually electronic polarization is all about? When you apply an electric field to a dielectric atom which is having positive charge nucleus, which is displaced in the direction of the field, and the electron cloud in the opposite direction, this kind of displacement will produce electric dipole within the atom. So in the atom, if we talk about a dielectric atom, so when electric field is applied to an atom, positive charge displaces in the direction of the applied electric field, and the electron will be in the opposite direction, and this kind of displacement of the positive and the negative charges will produce electric dipole within the atom. So this dipole is actually proportional to the strength of the electric field, which is given by capital E. You can just see mu E is proportional to, this is a symbol of proportionality. So mu suffix E, when you talk about a dipole movement, is proportional to the strength of the electric field. So when you remove this proportionality, that is you can just write mu suffix E is equal to alpha suffix E into E, where alpha is called the electronic polarizability constant, right? So now this is now the as we talk about the polarization of different atoms, you can see the different electronic polarization of helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon. There is a mathematical value which is given here. So into 10 power of minus 40 farad a meter square. So the electronic polarization is increasing with the increase of the volume of the atom, and this kind of polarization mostly exhibited by the monoatomic gases, and these gases have been shown in the tabular form, where we have already reduced and we got a value of the polarization, electronic polarization values, and this type of polarization occurs at the optical frequencies, which is actually what is the meaning of this optical frequencies. The frequencies, if they fall in the range of 10 power of 15 hertz, right? You already know that a frequency is measured in terms of hertz. So these type of polarization may occur at the optical frequency, which is given by the 10 power of 15 hertz, and definitely this electronic polarization which we are actually talking about, it is doesn't depend on the temperature, it is independent of the temperature. So now it is very important to understand the electronic polarization. Why? Because the electronic polarization occurs, right, to all at all the frequencies. So we need to understand its mathematical significance and mathematical expression. What is actually the electronic polarization look like mathematically? What will be the expression of it, such that we can calculate the polarization of any material? So for that instant, we are considering a dielectric atom in an electric field of intensity. We just keep it as an electric field which is having the intensity capital E. Since the nucleus, see, when you talk about the nucleus, definitely it will have a positive charge, and that is given by Ze, and the electron cloud, just see, this is this plus Ze, we just representing the mathematically the atom, uh, positive charge of the atom. And definitely when you say an atom will have a nucleus and the surrounding electron cloud will be there. So how this can be represented mathematically? So that is the reason that we just writing out the nucleus charge as plus Ze, and the electron cloud will have a negative charge, that is minus Ze of the atom. And this actually, the positive and the negative charges are acted upon a particular force. There will be definitely, when you talk about positive and negative charges, they are attracted, and some force is making them to attract. So we say that in the dielectric atom, if it is happening, so that is due to the force called Lorentz force. So subsequently, the nucleus moves in the direction of the field, definitely, and the electron field, a cloud will be in the opposite direction. So now the electron cloud and the nucleus get shifted from their normal position. Definitely, when you apply an electric field to it, so they will be shifting their position, there will be displacement. So an attractive force between them is created, and separation continues until a Coulombic. See, when you say that there's some attractive force will be there, and definitely we'll have a separation of these charges will be continuing unless and until you have a Coulombic attractive force, that is F suffix C, is balanced with the Lorentz force, that is FL, F suffix L. So the force actually due to the Lorentz. So Lorentz, this particular phenomena has been invented by Lorentz. So therefore, we just say that that is called a Lorentz. Well, finally, at equilibrium position, at constant position, what will happen? You can just see this. This can be represented by a schematic diagram where you can see that the positive charge nucleus is represented with a parameter called plus Ze, and when you can just see that white sphere. So white sphere is an atom. So from the center of the nucleus to the any point on the atom will be definitely a distance capital R when you don't apply any electric field to the given dielectric atom. So now when you apply some electric field, so what will happen? Definitely the charges, you can just see here, when you don't apply any electric field, there will be no displacement of the charges. Now when you apply the electric field, definitely there will be the displacement of the charges. So so the figure 2 here represents the displacement of nucleus and the electron cloud, as we assume the negative charge in the uniformly distributed in this sphere. So for our reference, we just drawn with a dotted line where you have a positive charge, and the electron cloud will be present in this particular fashion, and the radius of this sphere is nothing but it is capital R. Now, so this is what you can say the density value. Let rho be the charge density, or sigma, we say sigma be the charge density of the sphere. So when you talk about density, right? So density is given by mass by volume. See, density is given by mass by volume. So when you talk about charge density, definitely you're talking about the electron. So here the electron charge will, when compared with the other charge, will be more. So therefore mass of that particular charge is represented with minus Ze, and mass by volume. So see, you can just see this figure again. This is in the form of a sphere. So the volume of the sphere is given by 4 by 3 pi r cube. So 4 by 3 pi r cube. You can just see the figure again. So there, this is the radius capital R. So therefore we have written here that is 4 by 3 pi r cube. So I think that you got a very clear idea what is actually Ze. So minus Ze represent the total charge which is present inside the sphere. So the existence of the influence of the negative charge, that is electron cloud, will be more when compared with the charge due to the nucleus. So thus the negative charge in the sphere is of the radius x. So you can just see why I'm again sphere is having a radius x. You can just see again the schematic diagram. When you don't apply electric field, this is the case which is occurring. We are talking about the electric field. So definitely when you talk about the electric field, so there will be displacement of positive and the negative charges. So you can just see that that is the reason that we talk about this particular charge. So here the radius of the sphere, which has been shown with the dotted line, so that the radius of that small sphere inside the atom. So we say that this is also a part of sphere. So this is nothing but this is the radius which is given by x. We are just assuming that radius is given by x. So therefore, so the negative charge in the sphere of is having the radius x. So the charge, when you talk about charge, that is we am talking about the mass. So mass is actually equal to, you can see mass is equal to, you can see this is this and this is right. mass is equal to the volume into the density, or density into volume. So here also I'm writing q suffix e, that is given by sigma into 4 by 3 pi x cube. So we are just talking about, see, this is in the we talk about when you apply the electric field, this is the case. And just now if there no electric field is applied, so this case will exist. So density is equal to minus 34 by 3 pi r cube when you don't apply any electric field. So when you apply an electric field, definitely the density and volume, the product of density into volume is nothing but, we say, that is mass. So here you already know what is actually this rho is all about. The rho is minus ZE by 4 by 3 pi r cube, capital R cube. So I have just replaced with this sigma value with minus ZE by 4 by 3 pi r cube. You can just make a note of it, right? So 4 by 3 pi x cube already it is there. So you can just what you can say, cancel 4 by 3 pi in the denominator and 4 by 3 pi in the numerator, and what will be remaining? Minus ZE by r cube into x cube. Now actually we talk about the, here we are talking about the Coulombic force. So Fc will be equal to, what is Coulombic force? You already we have studied about the Coulombic attractive force, inverse square law, where we say that that is inverse square law is q1 q2 by r square. So for 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2 by r square, which is given by, here in this particular phenomena we just say that this is what you can say, 1 by 4 pi 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught QE 1 by say 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught QE into QP, that is QE into Q. You can just see this figure, FC is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into Q1 Q2 by R square. So Q1 Q2 is, that is E suffix E represent the electron cloud, and Q suffix P represent the positive charge. So the QE into QP by x square, so 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into x square. So QE electron cloud, since you talk about electron cloud, that is minus ZE by r cube into x cube. You can just see the figure into what is remaining positive charge. ZE is the positive charge. So when you simplify it, what you will get? Minus z square e square, right? Why? Because z square e square x. Why I'm writing this? See what z square e square into, so this is ZE into ZE, z square e square minus, as it is, x cube. So x cube and x square, x cube in the numerator and x square is in the denominator, 1x will be remaining. So you, in the numerator you find that minus z square e square into x by 4 pi epsilon naught r cube. Now let us consider, this is equation 1. So when we talk about a Coulombic force F suffix c, this is the case, and then we move to the next level of understanding. So here Lorentz force is actually at equilibrium. You can just see the force experienced by the displaced nucleus in the electric field of the strength E is given by, the Lorentz force is given by QE. So QE, so Q is what? The positive charge, that is ZE into E. So this is about FL. FC, just now we got the value of FC. So what is FC? Minus Z square E square, where the equilibrium condition, these forces are equal to each other. The repulsive and the attractive forces are equal at equilibrium position. So that at equilibrium we say that F suffix L is equal to FC minus Z square E square x by 4 pi epsilon naught r capital R cube. This is the Lorentz force, which is equal to the F suffix C, that is ZE into E. So when you just write it down, ZE get cancelled. What is remaining? ZE into x by 4 pi epsilon naught capital R cube is equal to E. So here what is the E actually equal to? E is nothing but, you can E is we have shown here. You can just see this E, since E is equal to dipole moment, this Q into x, right, is dipole moment. So ZE into x, so divided by the alpha E value. So we just studied about the electric field value, electric field here given by dipole moment by alpha E. So here what I have written, minus ZEx by 4 pi epsilon naught into r cube is nothing but, that is some constant alpha suffix E. So So we are just representing with the 4 pi epsilon naught r cube with alpha e. So here alpha e when go to the left hand side. So what is there, the remaining? So here we just say that 4 pi epsilon naught into r cube is nothing but the electronic polarizability constant. So hence the electronic polarizability. Now in the examination, if you write like this, that is enough for you to understand. So hence the electronic polarization directly proportional to the cube of the radius of the atom. You can see that in the expression alpha suffix e is actually equal to the cube of the radius of the atom. So the electronic polarizability is actually proportional to the cube of the radius of the atom. Now this is about the derivation of the electronic polarizability. Now you can just see, I think that you got a clear idea. So if you don't got it, again I'm just repeating that when you don't apply an electric field, so what will be the nucleus charge plus Z is there. When you apply electric field, this nucleus will be displaced, the electronic cloud will be displaced, and we are just assuming the another sphere which has been shown by this dotted. So this is electron cloud. So it will have it is in the form of a sphere. Definitely it will have some radius. So therefore this imaginary part will have the radius small capital X, and the actual sphere is given by capital R when you apply the electric field. So this is charge density of the sphere is given by mass by volume. So mass of that particular electron cloud is given by minus Ze by 4 pi 3 pi r cube. So minus Ze represents the total charge in the sphere. So why not it is plus Ze, why it is a minus Ze? Since you talk about electrons, so electrons, the negative charges will be here. We are considering minus Ze representing the total charge in the sphere, that the negative charge in the sphere of the radius x will be q suffix e, that is the charge are nothing but we say that is the mass. So mass is actually equal to volume into density. So volume of the given sphere is 4 by 3 pi r cube. So 4 by 3 here when you talk about radius x small x capital X, you can just see the slide. So we have just written QE is equal to sigma into 4 by 3 pi x cube. So sigma value you already know, minus Ze by 4 by 3 pi r cube. We just substituted instead of sigma minus Ze 4 by 3 pi r cube, and 4 by 3 pi x cube is already there. So 4 by 3 pi, 4 by 3 pi will get cancelled, and minus Ze by capital R cube into x cube will be remaining, and just we consider it as equation number 1. This is for the negative charge value. So the negative charge, that is QE, Q suffix E is equal to minus Ze by R cube into Xe. So we already know that there are two types of forces which are acting, right, at the dielectric atom. One is the Coulombic force and the another is the Lorentz force. So Lorentz force is an internal force, and the Coulombic force is the force which is existing between the nucleus, the positive charge, and the negative electron cloud. So here there are two types of forces. One is the internal force, that is a Lorentz force, and the external force, that is due to the Coulombic attractive forces, which are exhibited by the two oppositely charges. So Fc is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught QE into QB by x square. This is a general expression for the attractive force, inverse square law, taken from inverse square law. So 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into x square. QE is nothing but we talk about the electron, so therefore it has been written as minus Ze into x cube by capital R cube. What is Q suffix P? Positive charge, therefore we have written it as Ze. So when just multiply it, Z in E into Ze minus Z square E square x by 4 pi epsilon naught R cube. So this I think that you got very clear idea. So here at equilibrium position, the Lorentz force F is equal to QE. This is taken from the intermediate. So F is equal to QE, E, Q is the charge. So Ze we have written. So at equilibrium, the Lorentz force and the Coulombic forces are equal to each other. Therefore, we have just written here minus Z square E square x by 4 pi epsilon naught capital R cube is equal to Ze into capital E. So now in the later section, we just discuss about the minus Ze into x by 4 pi epsilon naught R cube is equal to E, and E you already know that actually E is equal to dipole moment by the electron polarizability, which is given by the alpha is, you can just write 4 pi epsilon naught r cube can also be written as alpha suffix e. So here 4 pi epsilon naught r cube is nothing but the electronic polarizability. So from the given expression we say that the electronic polarizability is directly proportional to the cube of the radius of the atom. So with this small right, what you can say, there are another polarization. With this we just complete the electronic polarization. In the examination he will ask you what are the different types of processes by which the polarization is occurring inside the dielectric material. So there are 4 types here. We discuss about the electronic, ionic, orientation and space charge polarization. So in the examination he will ask you define electronic polarization and derive the expression for the electronic polarization. When it comes to the ionic polarization, so what is actually ionic polarization? You know about the ions. So when the atoms from the molecules are relatively displaced, right, from the atomic components of the molecule, so in the presence of an electric field, the two different ions, right, that is cation and the anion we're talking about. So when electric field is applied to the molecules of what you can say positive ions is displaced by some distance x1 and to the negative side electric field, and the negative ions displaced to the certain other distance. We are just representing with the x2 to the positive type. So now this is given by dipole moment is given by q into x1 plus x2. Now this is occurring, this is cation, we talk about cation. So here positive ions are nothing, we say that is called causative cation, and this is the negative are nothing but we'll say that anions, right? So so this is the case. We are not again deriving it. Only one derivation is there in your syllabus, that is electronic polarizability. So this type of polarization, I'm talking about this type of polarization means ionic polarization. So the ionic polarizations are occurring at the frequency of 10 to the power of 13 hertz. So that will be actually occurred in the infrared range. In the previously we just discussed that is the occurred, and it is occurring in the electronic polarization occurring at the electronic what you can say electric polarization, that is having the range of 10 power of 15 or 40 hertz. So it is a slower process, the ionic polarization slower process when compared to the electronic polarization, and also this type of ionic polarization is independent of the temperature. So here, so the other part that we are deal with the orientation, third polar type of polarization which is occurring, that is called dipolar polarization, or we say that orientation polarization which is occurring in hydrogen. We talk about gases, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, chlorine, and the methane, right, and so on. So this type of here the net dipole is very much small when compared with the different molecular dipole. See, this we are actually H2N2 means we are talking about hydrogen molecule. The type of polarization which is occurring in the molecules, we say that polarizations are nothing but the orientation polarization, and these are nothing but we talk about the polar molecules and non-polar molecules. So water is a non-polar molecule, and here you can just see water is a, here we say that water is a polar molecule, and non-polar molecules, there are two types of molecules, right, polar and the non-polar molecules. Here they carries the dipoles even in the absence of electric field. So such type of molecules which carry the dipoles even in the absence of electric field, so we say that is the polar molecules. So in the in absence of electric field, if the dipoles are doesn't existing, so we say that are non-polar molecules. So however the net dipole moment is negligible, very small, since all the molecular dipoles are oriented randomly when there is no electric field. So in the presence of this electric field, all the dipoles are orientation in the themselves the direction of the field. As a result, net dipole moment becomes enormous. So this orientation polarization is occurring in the range of 10 power of 6 hertz to 10 power of 10 hertz. This is a range in which this is a range of the frequency where you are exhibited the orientation polarization taking place. So it is a very slow process when compared to ionic polarization, and in this orientation polarization is greatly dependent upon the temperature. Previously electronic and ionic polarization are independent of temperature, and here you find that they are dependent on the temperature. So now we are not deriving it. So With this, just will I stop my class, today's class. Thank you everyone. Thank you for your patience. So in the next class, again we'll just go for the other topic which deal with the dielectric materials. Thank you.